So, welcome to part 2 of 8 things to master before marriage on Relationship Real Talk, where we talk all things relationship, always keeping it real. So, if you missed part 1, grab it. You will be blessed by it. You will be empowered by it. But today we're going to do the remaining 4. So, today we're going to start with mastering humility. Okay.
These virtues aren't just exclusively important to relationship, However, when you're going into a relationship, whatever problem you carry over will only get amplified. So humility is king. Be considerate on how you rate yourself. Of course, in the sight of God, you're amazing, and in my sight, you are. But be humble. Even in your values, be humble in how you talk, in how you carry yourself. I know you are wonderful, you're amazing, but it doesn't make you better than anybody. This is what I say to people: nobody is above you, but nobody is beneath you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in marriage, you will have issues, you will have situations that you need to deal with, you will have disagreements. If you cannot admit you are wrong because of pride, it's going to be a big problem. A big problem. And what happens is you now move from the issue itself, the problem itself, to a bigger problem of you not apologizing, and then it gets prolonged, and something that could have been resolved in a day now gets drawn into weeks because somebody is not wanting to admit they're wrong. People not admitting they're wrong can cause you to even have financial challenges in your home because you made the wrong decision, but you're choosing to stick with it even though you know it's wrong just because you're proud. So choosing humility is key. It's not just about thinking soberly of yourself, not thinking too highly of yourself, but it's also being humble enough to say, I'm sorry. Those 2 words are simple. I know I'm not always the first one to say them, and I'm not always the quickest to say them, but being able to say, I'm sorry when you've done something wrong is important. It just nips the issue in the bud so it doesn't grow, it doesn't fester. But if you're proud, then you delay, and that delay causes the other person to fester in maybe their annoyance or their anger, and it just gets out of control. So master humility. Practice with your siblings, practice with your friends. Be quick to say you're sorry if you've done something wrong. It will stand you in good stead when you get married.
So we're not saying look down at yourself, but
Absolutely
it's just be considerate in treating other people. But when people come to you and they say, oh, this and this and this, basically they're offended because of something you did, don't think you must prove that they were wrong. I think it's too much energy, because you may win the argument, but you've probably lost a friend, And I'm not saying every time somebody comes, with an accusation, you should just admit right away. But I'm sure you understand what I'm talking about.
I mean, a scripture just came to my mind that says a gentle answer turns away wrath. So basically, if you respond gently, even when you know you're right, it can calm things down. So just picking up from what you said, somebody comes to you and maybe they're expressing to you something they consider that you did that was upsetting to them, and you may feel like you really didn't do anything, or they may be accusing you and you feel like, no, that is just wrong, you're getting the wrong end of the stick. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you explaining the real situation, because I don't advocate just saying I'm sorry just for the sake of saying I'm sorry and it doesn't mean anything. But you could say, oh, I'm sorry you felt like that. Then you can be honest. You can honestly say, oh, I'm sorry you saw it like that, but that wasn't what I meant. So you can still explain yourself, or you can still say you're sorry. You're sorry that somebody's been hurt by what you did. Because I think sometimes when we gloss over things and just say you're sorry, it just then makes the relationship could become superficial, and it could repeat itself because there's no real understanding. There's nothing wrong with getting real understanding, but sticking to your ground and not wanting to budge it might be the problem. So mastering humility is key in any relationship, but particularly relationship between the husband and the wife.
The next essential habit that you need to master is independence and identity. Independence and identity. You want to talk about that?
Don't expect the other person to complete you. Right? So when we talk about independence, we know that in a relationship there's interdependence, isn't it? So there's interdependence, but for there to be real healthy interdependence, the first has to be independence. I need to know myself and be secure in myself. Now, in part 1, we talked about self-awareness. This is slightly different. So it's not just about being aware of yourself. This is being comfortable in yourself, being confident in who you are, having a good esteem of yourself, not expecting that it's when you get married your partner is going to complete you, right? You're complete on your own. They're going to complement you, they're going to enhance you, but you're complete on your own. So be confident in who you are. Again, this is something you can develop. I mean, as a coach, this is one area that I work with the most with my clients: self-esteem. So if you're in that place where you struggle with self-esteem, please don't think you're alone. If there are 10 people in a room, I guarantee you at least 7 of them have a low self-esteem of themselves. They have low self-esteem. So it's very prevalent, it's very common, but it can be overcome, it can be worked on, it can be dealt with. So that's what we're talking about. Work on yourself to know who you are, to be confident in yourself, to identity, know who you are. Don't expect there's the other person that's going to reveal you to you.
Well, it is, as we've repeatedly said on this platform, we are people of faith. We pastor a local church. The Bible is our supreme truth, and the Bible makes us to understand that we are not just ordinary. We are not just a product of biological act. We are product of a great designer who put us together to express his love for us. So there isn't anything ordinary about you, but you've got to come to the acceptance of that. Maybe life has treated you roughly. It doesn't mean that's your identity. You've got to find your identity in discovering you within the word and the truth of God's views about you. So once you come to that level of awareness, that you know who you are, then you're ready for whatever the future holds. Because if you're waiting for somebody to validate you, then you probably have a chance.
Yeah, you always, something they say will challenge your being, so if they say something that is not complimentary, it will challenge your being. Of course we all want affirmation, and it's beautiful to get affirmation from the person you love and loves you, but when you don't get the affirmation, it shouldn't go to the core of who you are. In the core of who you are, you should know that you're precious, you're valuable, you bring extreme value to the world, not just to your relationship. So knowing all of that will help you, because trust me, even in married relationships, you can go through that season where you feel like your spouse is always putting you down. They might not even be doing it deliberately. They might just be trying to emphasize areas for improvement, but the way they present it might come across to you as heavy criticism. And if you're not confident in who you are, that might damage you, in the sense that you now feel like, oh, I'm not good enough. That's it. You start to feel like I'm not good enough. No, I know who I am. I'm not perfect, but I am good. I am absolutely good enough. So that is so important, to have that sense of identity and self-esteem. Really key.
It doesn't mean that you don't listen to the opinions of others.
Absolutely not.
Because it is super important that you trust the judgment of your loved ones. You've got to be able to. The way I deal with criticism, for example, is, might they be right? Are they telling the truth? And even instances where I was angered by what people said, I would I might not admit immediately, but I will go away and say, might they be right? Can they be saying something that I'm blinded about, and see what I can do to build into my life, to improve me as I go along. So I just wanted to chip that in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's always room for improvement. But what I think the point I was making was, while the person is trying to help you improve, if you are not sure or certain or confident in who you are, you could take that to mean you're just not good enough. And that can be quite damaging to some people. So that's really, really important.
Yeah, we cannot emphasize it enough. You're amazing. You may not feel like that. Life may not be showing you that, but you've got to come to that level. It's a journey, of course. It's a journey, especially if you've had difficult background and stuff, and you've got reasons to feel like that. But continue to work on your mind. There are so many tools available, especially with the internet now. People say, and it sounds hard, but it is the truth, that if you're ignorant about anything in today's world, is a choice. So work on yourself, access information, YouTube, podcast, hang out with the right people until you get to that level of awareness to be able to know and ascertain that you're truly amazing.
Absolutely. Okay, we're going to move on to number 7, master time. Wow. This is a big one. Master time management. Because time is everything. They say time is money, isn't it? Time
is actually not money. Time is more precious than money.
Well, the reason they say time is money is because time translates to money. What you fill your time with will translate into the value that you get back in your life. But time is so important. If you don't master time, you'll be running from here to there like a headless chicken. Then you're not going to have time to do what you need to do, which will affect the relationship. If you've got kids, for instance, if you don't know how to master time, then you might be finding yourself, the kids are always late to school, which could cause problems for them. You could be getting late to work because now you have children to take care of. So before all of that comes into the mix, master your time management. Learn how to prioritize.
That's an area that you're very big on, and you've got programs for that as well.
Yes, as a coach, I've got it's an area I'm very big on, because people ask me all the time, how do you manage to do all the things you do? For anybody who knows me personally, they will know that for decades my life has always been full. I always have a full plate, but I've always managed to juggle them and live a balanced life. And I'm passionate, just like you're passionate about the finances. I'm passionate about equipping people to master their time, to manage time in a way that enables them to be productive, to live a productive, blessed life. Because very often people will say, oh, I wish I could do that, but I don't have the time. Oh, I want to do this, but I don't have the time. But the truth is that it's not that you don't have the time. You're just spending the time in ways that you're not even probably aware of. You're just giving your time to all these things that you're not even aware of, that you're giving your time to them. And then when it comes to the real things, it's just like money. When you spend your money on this, that, and the other, and then all of a sudden you want to do something, you say, I don't have money. But that's because you allowed your money go wherever you want it to go. It's the same with time. If you allow your time to go wherever it wants to go, when you need it for something specific, you're not going to have it. So that's so important, to master time management before you get married.
Somebody said if you don't budgeting in terms of money, budgeting is telling your money what you want it for or where to go. Equally, if you don't plan your day, you're saying to your day, go wherever you want. And we know that God is fair, but one of the things He's done is we all have 24 hours.
Donald Trump has 24 hours. The Prime Minister of the UK has 24 hours.
You can't buy it.
The cleaner has 24 hours. It doesn't matter how rich you are, you can't get my 24 hours. Everybody has 24 hours. So the question is, how come some people are able to do so much with their 24 hours and you can't.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to put in the comment, actually, it just occurred to me, I'm going to put in the comment a link to a time management tool that I use with my clients. If you want it, you can click on that link, you can request it absolutely free. It will help you in the first instance to start to find out where your time is going. You know, when you want to tidy up a room, if the light is off, it's going to be very difficult to do that.
Okay.
So what you want to do first of all is you want to switch the light on to see the mess, to know how things are. This tool will help you achieve that. It's similar to finances. There's a tool that you use to just shed light on your finances to know where you are. So hit the link in the comments and we would love to send you that tool.
Yeah.
It will be of great benefit to you. And we're going to pause here to say, if you haven't yet subscribed, we know this content we're putting out is really helping you. We know that. We want you to help us back. This is your way of giving back to us. Hit the subscribe button. It just helps us reach more people.
Yeah.
Share this video. If you have watched this and anything we've shared so far has been beneficial to you, hit the share button and share it with somebody that you love.
Yeah.
Okay.
And lastly, we're talking about contentment.
Contentment.
Yeah. Contentment isn't necessarily advocating for settling for a life that you're not happy with, but it's being happy
wherever you are,
choosing joy at every stage of life.
Yes,
it is easier said than done. You know, it is easier said than done to be able to balance being hungry for more
and being
yet
happy,
grateful with what you have.
Yeah.
Sounds like a paradox,
but it's possible. It's possible to be hungry for more, but be happy where you are. Right. So it just means that I'm not resentful.
No.
I'm not blaming anybody. I'm grateful.
I'm not jealous. I'm not jealous. Envious.
I'm grateful, but I'm going for more.
Yeah.
Because I know there is more.
Yeah.
So it's really, really important. I heard my brother-in-law pray a prayer for his daughter when she just gotten married. And the night she was going to move into her husband's house, because in Nigeria, if you're from Nigeria, where I'm from, you probably know the tradition. You know, you have the wedding, and then the woman goes back to her family, goes back home.
I remember that.
Yeah. So do they do it when you in your part of the country?
Yeah.
Okay.
Similar.
So the woman, I think it's even the Jews do it. You go back home, and then in the night, the women of the house, excluding the mother of the bride, take the new bride to the husband's house. Is
that when they wash their feet and stuff?
Well, some people wash the feet. Yeah, some people do that.
Yeah, in my part of the country, they do that.
Yeah. So we were that was the night we were going to take my niece to my sister's daughter, my niece to her husband's house. And I remember my brother-in-law praying for her before we left the house. And he prayed this prayer that I just thought, I have never heard anybody pray that prayer before, but it's just so profound, so powerful, so relevant. He said, "May you never have appetite for something your husband cannot afford." And I thought, wow, that is such a good prayer to pray for your daughter, because men can be put under pressure by their wives, trying to keep up with the Joneses. I'm gonna be miserable because I don't have a BM. My friends have BMs. So be content with what you have as a family, right? Your money is not your money. His money is not his money. His money is your money. Your money is his money.
Sorry. Okay.
Okay, let me rephrase that. Your money is not just for you. His money is not just for him. His money is your money. Your money is his money.
Okay.
Be content with what you have as a family. And don't have an appetite for something the family cannot afford.
I love that. That's what I've been looking for all day.
Okay, but the prayer that I referred to was a prayer for the daughter. For the daughter to say, don't go lusting after something that your husband cannot afford. And that prayer is valid. Let's not go back.
Honey, I appreciate that prayer. And I don't have the right to say a man should not say whatever prayer he wants. That prayer is influenced by culture. And
the culture is real.
And it's a culture I don't agree with.
That's fine, but the culture is real. The culture is real. That's why we're saying be content. So be content with what you have as a family. Don't be comparing your family other people's
Yeah,
family.
you shouldn't.
Right? So we're talking about 8 habits to master before marriage. So you, before you get married, be content with where you are in your life. Don't be lusting after what everybody else has.
Yeah.
So you master that contentment, that state of contentment before you go into marriage.
Yeah.
So wherever you find yourself, whatever kind of home you find yourself, because it's possible maybe you grew up in a really rich family, right? You grew up in an affluent home and you fall in love with a man that doesn't come from a rich home. And then you go into the marriage expecting the man to be like your father, being able to cater for all your whims, every desire you've had, you've always met. So you have to master contentment in the home, right? So that you don't go into marriage and start to put your husband under unnecessary pressure to provide for you in the way your father has when he's not in a position to do so.
Yeah.
So contentment is really important, that you master that before you go into marriage. So those are 8 things to master before marriage.
I like that don't develop an appetite for something that you know that the family cannot afford. In other words, you have to have a controlled appetite.
That's it.
And this is not just a woman thing. That's my point. It could be a man thing. I've heard situations where he just has uncontrolled appetite, buying expensive things. You made mention about rich people. You will be shocked that rich people have better spending habits.
I will not be shocked.
Exactly.
I know that.
You
Absolutely.
know, so rich people are not rich because they spend money. They're rich because they're rich. One of the main reasons they're rich is because they don't spend
They're
that
very
much.
frugal. I remember.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm a solicitor, so I remember I used to do wills and probate a lot. I remember a client coming to get his will done. This client, because if you're going to draw somebody's will, you have to know their assets. This client was a millionaire, arguing over a few quid for his
how he
will.
became a
And I'm
millionaire.
like, for goodness sake, come on. But people don't get rich by just spending anyhow.
No.
But it's not only spending, even when we're talking about the man as well. It could be having an appetite for certain food, right? That you don't want to, you want to keep going back home to eat mama's food, and your wife's food is never good enough.
Okay, we're talking about contentment.
Contentment.
Right? Okay.
So it's not just about buying stuff, it's just general contentment.
General contentment. Okay.
Master that wherever Paul said in this Bible, I know how to abound, I know how to abase, meaning I know how to do with plenty when I have plenty, I know how to do with little when I have little. In all situations, I can do all things. Right? So wherever you find yourself, be content with that in that moment while striving for more. That is a great habit to have.
Absolutely.
Just to recap on the 8 habits to master before marriage. 1, master yourself. Know yourself.
Absolutely. Healthy communication. Super important.
Master your money management.
Absolutely. Self-care and personal hygiene.
Master humility.
And of course, develop a sense of independence and identity awareness. Know thyself.
Number 7, master time management.
And live a life, or learn to live a life of contentment.
We hope you have enjoyed this episode. It's been fun. It's been heated at some points, but we always try and keep it real here. If you haven't got our book, 30 Ways to Divorce-Proof Your Marriage, you need to get that book. That is a book that we poured our heart and soul into. We share very openly from our own journey, our own over 30 years of marriage. That book will be really helpful to you before you get married, because it will help you learn some of those things before you say I do. So get your copy of the book, hit the subscribe button, share the video, and we'll see you on the next episode of Relationship Real Talk, where we talk all things relationship, always keeping it real.